Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Jamsys, and today we're going to be playing the meta after ML Landy crashed into their fucking boat and destroyed it. So that's gonna be pretty fun. I have not currently managed to pull ML Landy, so that's kind of miserable, but I decided to do a few things differently. You'll notice that I'm back to first pick and conquer again. But if you think that's bad, just wait till later in the video because it gets much worse. Yeah. I kind of had to just cage ML Landy because I don't know how to deal with her right now because there's no real way to deal with her. Like, I'm sure you've seen the content of where people just pick 4 ML Landy counters and then she just presses S3 and then she kills them all. So, we're going back to our Celia's DJB roots, but it's slightly more degenerate this time because Celia's is not wearing my fastest gear right now. Shocking, I know, but it's actually on. It's a surprise. Well, I think the thumbnail gave it away. It's on Lua. So my Celia's is rocking 290 with good EHP, I guess, which is pretty fun. And we're drafting in the same way. I just have to uncage Zio, but something I did learn recently is that green Luca is a defensive unit, so I can play aggro into it for the most part. His team is looking like pretty low damage, so I'm thinking about going for like maybe a Dark Corvus, but then I decide to go for Milim for fun, I guess. I don't know what I was thinking, but my opponent goes for quite the interesting last pick here, which is Lionheart. If you're ever in this situation, I wouldn't recommend picking Lionheart if I'm gonna be really honest, because Lionheart doesn't do enough, I don't think. Like, her damage got buffed and she got a CR push, which is nice and all, but the fundamental issue still exists with Lionheart Zermia, where she can't actually properly solo Arya down in a 1v1. And especially if there's like standing behind her, and then she just has like the risk of where she just gets like fucking murdered, which is what you're gonna see. But yeah, Celia's is pushed back by like 50 million %. Doesn't matter. LRK is about to go and do fair and balanced things. I really hate this unit, by the way, because this is one of the big reasons why I had to like switch up my draft a little bit, because Stenny first picking became suicidal. DGB Para kind of struggles against Summer Break Luluka, especially since Para is like much more aggressive. But yeah, we're just doing the standard holding 10 billion books, so we're just gonna soul burn into our enemy team until they die. Like, that's one of my favorite strats, not gonna lie. But Lionheart Zermia dies without doing anything, like a dog. You know, as one does. We pretty much win. But yeah, this is basically a warm-up for how I'm trying to go back and undo a lot of the old meta's damage, or like the new meta's damage, where I have to ban Landy and you just have to like uncage Summer Luca. There's a few techs to get around it, I think, because a lot of these anti-Celia's comps are weak to Arya DC, so I might just do a lot more of that, except that's like kind of boring, especially if it's a DC solo. And Lionheart actually managed to kill my Dark Corvus this morning, so that was quite the shocker. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Once my Celia starts getting her skills off, my opponent knows they're pretty much done, so they end up forfeiting out of the match. 10 out of 10. But yeah, spoiler alert, I do pick Lua a lot. She is holding my fastest gear right now, so you're gonna see a lot of funny clips. That's all I'm gonna say. I think that's one of the biggest strengths of having like a really fast Lua, is that cleavers or faster players are really inclined to cleave like a Lua or Celia's first pick, because, you know, they're on the slower base speed end, but if you can gear them faster than some people's openers, it's like a free win when you outspeed. another thing I want to talk about is that ML Landy is so busted. People are like uncaging Lua, which is one of the big reasons I'm actually putting my best gear on Lua, because I would never put my best gear on Lua before this, because Lua used to be banned so often. Even like the first season she came out, she boasted a giga high win rate. But my opponent picks Ocean Breeze Luca, which is not a bad pick, but again, you know, ignore ER Soulburn is fair and balanced. So we're gonna pick books. And I'm kind of thinking of picking Amid here. I'm a little afraid of the Politist pick, but I can always pick like Arya or something that solos his team. And let's not forget how Lua counters Politist too in a weird way, because she puts her to sleep because, you know, she's fair and balanced. I'm gonna pick Aiden because my opponent's team actually has pretty low damage. And low damage if Aiden dodges. Asterisk. And we're gonna pick Green Sid just because Green Sid is threatening to my opponent's team, where I can just kill both Ran and Politist without pressing non-attack skills, and it contests his speed. So I think this is gonna discourage him from picking more speed in the last slot. Like, I guess he could still pick Zeo or whatever, but I can just ban it. And again, his comp is pretty slow. Not slow, pretty low damage overall. My opponent picks ML Vivian, and 9 out of 10 times the correct ban here is Ran, but I'm gonna ego this Ran a little bit just for content, because I was playing in the live Discord and everyone was like, ban Ran, it's content. And here we go, here's content where Lua outspeeds someone 10 base speed faster than her. It's too funny. My opponent goes for the emote too. I decided to go for the sleep on the Sylvan Sage Rivian because if this Ran is on, what's it called, RNL, he's gonna RNL out of the sleep anyway, so there's no point bothering to even try putting him to sleep, so we can just get rid of Chatty and whatever. Anyways, we're just gonna keep playing. Ran is useless if he doesn't RNL, asterisk. And then this Summer Luluka shouldn't be able to do anything either. But my opponent goes for a really smart play here where he procs the counterattack from Aiden. He cleanses off all the beguiles and then he's able to push up with AOL here. And since he still has book on AOL, he's able to soul burn into my Amen and silence her, which kind of sucks. But we're not in the worst shape because again, we still have a lot of options on our side. I think the correct play here actually would have been S1ing Ran so we can kill him off, but I wanted to go for the unbuffable just so I can get a, what's it called? So I can prevent him from using Chatty. But what that ends up doing is giving my opponent the insight stack to reduce the cooldown and actually go for the S3. So that's kind of a big choke, I think. And now Ran's gonna go, but I can't have Ran S2 S3 with crit damage buff because that's gonna kill my fucking Stenny 10 times over, because look at that HP. Does that look like it's gonna tank anything? Hell no. So we're kind of stuck at an impasse here, but I guess I see an out for myself where my Aimit is able to outspeed because again, Aimit is fair and balanced because, not Aimit, Lua's fair and balanced because giving your 290 units 30% speed for fun is kind of disgusting. I could have popped the skill nullifier here on Ran again, but like my mind is high on fucking speed, so I decided to just go for the boost onto Aiden to finish off the Sylvan Sage Rivian. She's sporting like kind of a big shield from Chatty, but my Aiden's pretty high damage and we get crit damage buff, so I was pretty confident in my ability to finish this off. And then once that happens, I think I'm pretty much in the clear because Ran S3 doesn't really matter if my whole team has invincibility, and this team in general does not look like it has the damage to kill off my Aiden, especially since it's on lifesteal set. So she lifesteals off the S2 too. But Ran's gonna do his fair and balanced stuff. Thank you. But yeah, it's another easy win. We get another counterattack, but my opponent's holding out for the fact that maybe he can kill off my Steny with, what's that called? With Truck, and then he kills off my Aiden with like lucky crits. But I think that's a little bit coping, I think. Especially since I kill off the Ran here. But, you know, I respect people trying their best, so. We get a lucky dual attack, so this is an RNG win. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm a sham content creator. Just kidding. But yeah. Luca's gonna hit us with her truck. Thank you, thank you. I don't know why I said thank you, whatever. But yeah, my Steny lives somehow. And I think it's because the defense stacks are just kicking in from 3 things dying, and my opponent decides to tap out there, which is quite tragic. But yeah, racing Luas, man. What can you do? And for the next match, we're up against, I hope I'm not butchering this, it's Edeacracy, I think. He's another YouTuber, and he makes English. He makes narrated RTA videos sometimes, but they're like very fun. You should check them out. Anyway, he's another person that uncages Lua, so we have to teach him that uncaging Lua gets you killed in this meta, or any meta, to be honest. So we first pick Lua because we're a bad person, and then we pick Steny because we're also a bad person, and soul burning for fun is extra based. And I kind of want to see how my opponent responds. I do remember they have a really fast, I want to say like a 300 ML Leica, but I'm pretty confident in my Lua's ability.
Submissive and readable, bro.
2 really solid picks here with LRK and Charlotte, but I think it's a little too early for the Charlotte pick because I can punish it really heavily with Bryce area here. Like I can punish all 3 of the first 3 units with Bryce area. And then since my opponent's not really contesting speed, I can actually opt to go for the Ahmed here, because Ahmed is, like, you know, as we all know, like really disgusting into these slower comps, because she's able to just run circles around them. And then my opponent, I notice, has 3 fire units on the board, which means that it's Arya's time to come in solo, because he has the option of either banning Lua and then getting soloed by Arya, or getting lured and banning Arya. He unfortunately chooses to go for the less fun option of getting lured, because like, who the fuck wants to see people getting lured? But whatever, we make do. As long as we sleep this Politis, we should be fine, because it means that she can't soul burn out of it, and luckily we are. I decide to greed a little bit here and hold on to the soul burn just so I can soul burn into Bryce area, but none of his units really screamed like I have like 200 plus ER, so I decide to just raw dog it. We push up Bryce area here with attack buff to set up my Steny to one-shot something. Judging by how this Politis on the book, he should die to this Bryce area S3, but they decided to tap out here, and it was a little bit of a draft diff, but you know, it's just like a showcase of how uncaging Lua kind of warps the meta. But he's a very chill and nice guy. You guys should go sub to him. For real, for real. But I was testing out this comp a lot yesterday in live Discord, as I said, and a lot of people decide to cleave it just because of how fast it is. Or not how fast it is, just because how difficult it is to deal with Lua as a turn 2 player, and my opponent right on cue sees my Lua first pick and decides to speed up, and that's kind of a difficult situation for me because I honestly am not the best into aggressive play. Like, I prefer to be the aggressor. I pick my bad FCC here. I decide to just pick DJB, or no, I'm risky, I'm crazy. I decided to pick Steny here just because he doesn't have the most DPS on the board, and we do have FCC to hide our Steny behind. And just having souls makes it really flexible, I guess. My opponent goes for this very, very fun variation of cleave. Normally you see it with effectiveness 0, but I guess they didn't want to play with 0, which is kind of strange, but no matter. We're gonna pick Senya because this team doesn't have the most damage. For Senya, if she doesn't get crit, but like big ask, I know. And then I'm kind of deciding on what I want to pick. I was thinking about picking double mid here, but SC Arrow's kind of bad just because unless you have her on really high ER, her escort just gets stripped and then she loses a lot of value, which I don't really love. And then I can't really pick like a DJB or something just because of the ability for him to pick something fast, and then me having to ban the ML Rwana, which I didn't really like. But my opponent last picks Bryceria, but I'm not too concerned about it, to be honest. I go for the ban onto ML Rwana just so I can use skills with my team. I put my team on the correct imprints, give bulk to our Senya plus Stenny, and I'm hoping that my Lua outspeeds, but we are down on imprint, which kind of sucks. It was pretty close though. Maybe I should have just banned the imprint, and I think that would have been fine. But NT, it doesn't matter. My opponent goes, rips the Payra S2 because there's no reason not to. If he gets a lucky hit on Senya, Senya's basically crippled for fun. And luckily though, our Senya does evade, but Politis pushes to the front, which kind of sucks. And my opponent goes for the soul burn into Lua. So that's kind of tragic for me. I think if I were to play this again, I guess I would have greeted and tried to ban the Sid, but I don't love racing Payras. And look, our Senya gets unbuffable by the Politis, so it's so bad for me. My Senya has around 120F, and then Politis with like max self imprint gives herself like 60F. So I guess the odds were like around 50-50, but it still feels pretty bad, I guess. Unlucky. This Bryceria debuffs my Senya 2, which also really sucks. But no matter. We go for the soul burn into Sid just to see how much damage we can do, but we luckily do get a hit through the blind, which is pretty nice. And I know my Senya is blinded, but I need to get the provokes on the Payra, so the Payra can't just
kill yourself
stun my Lua forever. And we luckily do get the provoke onto Payra, so we're able to finally get a turn in with Lua. And we're gonna sleep this Politis up to provide some mitigation to the team. And we're gonna press S3. Again, like the S3 isn't gonna give the speed buff to my team, but Lua's a damage dealer for some reason. And yeah, unfortunately, my Senya does go down, but you know, she deserves that L for not getting, what's it called? She deserves that death for not actually resisting either unbuffable. The opposing Payra luckily does miss my APOC, so she can't just stun, and now we're able to just poke and whittle down my team. My opponent goes for a really strange play here. I can understand them not wanting my Lua to be alive, so hitting it with Bryceria, but I think what they should have done here afterwards is they should have fished for the stun onto APOC, because now I'm able to ram my S3 into Politis with no consequence. Like, I know I wasn't going to revive anything, I just wanted to ensure the kill. And Bryceria cannot kill an APOC 1v1 at this health when I'm not death broken. So my opponent understandably decides to forfeit out. And we're gonna move on to the next match. But yeah, I did get a lot of comments that Payra DJB is a little bit bedge. So I did want to try something new. And I guess it is something new because it's Lua, but it's also not because I'm at Celius. But you know, what can you do, man? I have a finite amount of openers. But we're up against the guildie. Gian? Bro, I don't know how to say names. But yes. They first pick Conquer Lilius. If I remember correctly, they're not a slow Celius, but my Lua still should be able to outspeed. But we picked up good old Reliable, which is a fast opener plus DJB to counter Celius. My opponent goes for APOC, which is pretty understandable. And I'm guessing they want to play a standard match, but I do remember them being some sort of like unaggressive player, so that it does surprise me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I love people who draft slow, or as I like to call it, victim drafting. But my opponent actually decides to go for like a Sid pick, which I found was really left field. I could pick Spec Tenny Bryceria into this, but that also seems like I'm asking to get cleaved. I'm thinking of picking maybe Lua, I mean Lifesteal Aiden, but that makes me a little bit nervous. I decide to pick Zio here just because I can push something back and whatever. And I can use Zio as a DPS as a last resort. But it looks like my opponent's just looking to round out his draft with like really tanky DPSs that kill Senny to win. So I guess they like baited me a little bit. And they go for the Charlotte last pick. So I could have either went for Bryceria or Arya here. I think both are pretty good picks. But let's be honest, the last pick's getting banned. But I think this should be winnable as long as I ban Celius and I'm able to grab the first turn. Just because we're able to put off like a billion bullshit debuffs and whatever. We open up. My Zio does take the first turn. This is a really fast Sid. I'm realizing that it's a racer Sid because I think they remember me imprint racing them this one time, which is understandable. I S3 the Sylvan Sage Vivian just to take off the immunity and stuff, but we unfortunately do not get the silence, so we're kind of forced to press S2 into her. But I think in hindsight, pressing S3 on the APOC would have been the most value just because it would have done the most damage because it does percent HP damage. No big matter. Sid is forced to do nothing here because he's reset. And because he's like a really fast racer Sid, I kind of doubt he's able to do that much damage with just the raw S1 anyway. We go for the piggy blind just to ensure the safety of my team. And I decide to go for the S3 onto APOC here. There's a few plays I could have gone for, honestly. But we decide to stun up APOC just so he can't soften up my team the best I can. And since Charlotte doesn't have any buffs, she doesn't do too much either. We're gonna fish for a death break onto this APOC, but it resists, unfortunately. Shouldn't matter though. I think it resisted the Song of Stars because my Lua S1 isn't actually moled. So I could think it was resisting the Song of Stars, which is unfortunate. My Junkie Zio somehow manages to kill Sid because Zio is fair and balanced, and now we are able to make a very interesting play. In hindsight, what I would have done is I would have not pressed S3 here because by pressing S3, we give up our mitt. So my opponent can potentially ram their APOC S3 into my team and it would have done a lot of damage, but it's fine. We slam the Zio into Sylvan Sage Vivian to bring her low, and then we start soul burning it up for the kill. But you all know how APOC is fair and balanced, and since my Zio was not on book because I'm out of books, we actually missed the kill here on APOC, but you're about to see something really disgusting. So my opponent makes a little bit of a misplay because DJB would have been a kill 100% because we don't have S3. Damn, boy, but my Lua somehow survives this APOC S3, and that does enough mental damage to my opponent that they forfeit. But yeah, if you thought that was the end of the video, you're wrong because there's a bonus round. But yeah, as always, I'll catch you next time and enjoy the funny memes, dude. And here's a little stats.
Now he has his S1. Okay, honestly, just outspeed anyway. Fuck it.
True.
It would be very funny if even the sit outspeed your Lua.
No, my Lua's too fast for that.
That's your lose condition, actually. If the sit outspeeds your Lua, that's your lose condition.
Oh
my
my
It's too
god.
disturbing. It's
Oh no, 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 no. Make it stop. Make it stop.
Oh, God.
It's too